it can be so easy for some women, not all, but for some, that when they enter in a relationship, now they completely take on the role of the girlfriend, or they completely take on the role of the wife, or they completely take on the role of the mother, and they kind of neglect that person, that core person they were before they became girlfriend to or mother to someone. And it can be very detrimental, because this is actually what society actively tells women to do. It doesn't say this verbatim, but it does kind of say this. Your value is basically tied to someone else. In a sense, it can be a man, it can be you being a mother, but this is also why a lot of people are struggling with being single, because womanhood and the identity of women has been historically tied to someone else. Whether it's a baby, you're a mother to this person, you're this person's mother, or you're this person's wife. But like the idea of just you are a single functioning adult with your own mind, with your own dreams and aspirations, that does not involve someone else, can be very scary for some people. Hello and welcome to Kitchen Table Advice. My name is Paula and I am the host of this podcast. This podcast is a place where you can ask for any advice you want. It can be relationship, both platonic or romantic, career advice, or life advice. I wanted to create a space where people could ask questions without fear of rejection. I can't guarantee it'll be good advice, but I can guarantee there'll be no shame on my end. Your name will be anonymous and your identity will always be kept a secret. This is not professional advice, and I am not a licensed therapist or psychologist, and you are under no obligation to take this advice. Just think of this as advice you would get from a close friend on a kitchen table. So, let's begin. Listeners, we are back, and as usual, we'll just dive into the first story of the episode. The title for this story is, How Can I Maintain a Friendship with Someone Who Has Had a Baby? How to support them and keep the most important parts of our friendships. So, for context, I am a 27-year-old woman and I'm asking for advice regarding my friend, a 28-year-old woman who's recently just had a baby. I'm so happy for her, especially after she and her husband had a very difficult year. But she hasn't been around very much for several months before the baby came. She wasn't around much because of the pregnancy and dealing with family issues. I understand. And I've been focusing on keeping our communications very positive, and I've been offering her encouragements like parentheses, telling her she's a great mom and her daughter is so lucky to have her, and she will get through all the family stuff because she's so strong. But recently, I started to really miss her. The thing is, her baby is obviously not going to go away. And very sadly, the family issues are still going to go on and will be there for a while. When she does get back to me, she sometimes apologizes excessively for not being responsive. So I'm trying to hit the sweet spot of being there but not making her feel overwhelmed. Basically, I'm struggling with supporting her the way she feels now, and missing the friend who I could chat and laugh with. I do miss her a lot. Any advice would help. Wow. We'll be back with our advice after this break. We are back, and it's so nice to hear that you have such a healthy relationship with your friend and you truly value her as a friend. And you want your friend back. There's nothing wrong with you wanting your friend back, because you miss her, you miss the person she was, you miss how vibrant she was and her energy and all this good stuff. So I completely understand. But now she's a mom, she has a baby, and unfortunately, it's this is, I guess some people call becoming a parent a milestone. Others just think it's just a natural norm, but being a parent really will change the dynamic in your friendship. And I think for you as a child free, it seems as though you're child free. I don't know if you are or not, but it seems as for you as a child free woman, it would be better for you to focus on your friend. Which is basically what you're doing, right? And I think sometimes when our friend become mothers, we tend to focus on the motherhood aspect, the kid, which are obviously great, amazing stuff. Please, I'm not saying motherhood or having children is a bad thing. That is not what I'm saying. But we also tend to forget the person who was there before she became a mother. So I really do appreciate that this woman, she just wants that person who was there before her friend became a mother. So it is understandable. But the same bread, you also have to realize that that person is not going to be there anymore. Now that your friend has entered this new journey in her life, not that she's completely going to change. Obviously, I do not recommend you completely changing your identity because of anyone. And yes, that includes your baby. I know you love them and they're very cute and you would give them the world, but I do not recommend you changing for anyone, including your baby. Your friend is still there, but she's just going to show up a little bit differently now. I think it's a process for both of you. Basically, my advice is hang on. Like you said, she just recently became a mother and she's trying to juggle all these roles, being a mother, being a good mother, being a wife, being her idea of a good mother. It doesn't matter what it is. She's trying to juggle her idea of being a good mother, her idea of being a wife, and also being a friend. And like you said, with family issues, it's a lot for a person. So my advice is actually keep doing what you're doing because it seems like what you're doing is great. You constantly encourage her. You tell her daughter is so lucky, but also as much as you tell her daughter is so lucky, also try to focus on her as a person she was before she became a mother. Because unfortunately, for a lot of women, it can be so easy for some women, not all, but for some, that when they enter in a relationship, now they completely take on the role of the girlfriend, or they completely take on the role of the wife, or they completely take on the role of the mother, and they kind of neglect that person, that core person they were before they became girlfriend to or mother to someone. And it can be very detrimental because this is actually what society actively tells women to do. You are, well, it doesn't say this verbatim, but it does kind of say this. Your value is basically tied to someone else. In a sense, it can be a man, it can be you being a mother, but this is also why a lot of people are struggling with being single, because womanhood and the identity of women has been historically tied to someone else. Whether it's a baby, you're a mother to this person, you're this person's mother, or you're this person's wife. But like the idea of just you are a single functioning adult with your own mind, with your own dreams and aspirations that does not involve someone else can be very scary for some people. And just saying this can be very radical. So I do, even though your friend is a mother now, and she is taking on this new role of mothering someone else and nurturing someone else, I think it's also important for you as a friend to remind her of who she was before she became a mother. Not to knock the mother thing down, but kind of like both can work in tandem. I think motherhood is very wonderful, but I also think maintaining your individuality and not tying it to someone else, including your children. And I understand mothers are like, I have a mom, she loves me so much. And I'm thankful for that. So I know firsthand how it can be very hard because you're like, this is my person, this is little me. I will pour into this person, give them the whole world, and give them every single thing they desire, if it's within your capabilities. Most parents want to do that. They want their child to succeed. I get that. But it's also very important for women to compartmentalize. I was gonna say detached, but I think the better word is compartmentalize. That yes, you are this wonderful mother, you are also this wonderful wife, but you're also that wonderful woman with her own dreams, her own aspiration that is completely different from your family. And just because it is different doesn't mean it's bad. Just because it is different doesn't mean it can't complement their dreams and their success. So sorry about that. The video just cut, but like I was saying, I can kind of understand where the how it can be very difficult for mothers to kind of maintain their individuality while still being a mother, because like basically your child is kind of like the other you. This is like the little you. You want this child to be successful. You want to nurture them. You want to give them the world. But sometimes, for some people, in doing that, they're not just what's it called? They're not just guiding the child towards success, but they're also like a part of them is also giving up for the child's success. I think this is where it can be kind of sad, because you're here looking at your mother and you love her so much, but then a part of you, you're like, oh my gosh, she had to give this up for me. And unfortunately, our society encourages that. Society literally encourages women to sacrifice themselves for their children. And it's very unfortunate, because I think both can be successful. I think the girl before the mother can still be there even after you become a mother. I don't think they have to be separated. I think both can be celebrated. Yes, it's going to take a lot of work. I'm not saying it's not going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of work. But I think it's very important for us to celebrate the girl before she became a mother. Celebrate the girl who failed. Celebrate the girl who tried her hardest. Celebrate the girl who may have had setbacks and then pivoted. Celebrate the girl who's basically the reason why you are now a mother, and not just celebrate the mother aspect, but also celebrate the girl who went through her entire journey and decided to take on this role of mothering and of nurturing someone else. I think it's very important for us to also focus on that girl and not just focus on the mother. And there's some women who feel as though, I think this is why some women feel as though they've lost their identity when they become a mother, because now everyone is just giving them gifts related to their kids. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all. I am not saying that. It is a wonderful thing. A lot of mothers who really love their child, and they love seeing that other people also love their children. But in a sense, if you're always giving a woman, a new mother, gifts only based on her child, you're and not gifts based on the woman who was there before the mother, you're kind of saying the mother one is more important than the girl. You're kind of neglecting the girl who was there before. And I can understand for this woman, she wants that girl back. She wants her friend back. She wants a girl who was witty, who was clever, who had all these different escapades with her. She wants her back. But I think it's important for us to acknowledge the fact that your friend is now in a period in her life where she needs a little bit of time, and she needs a little bit of an adjustment. She's a new mother, so of course she's going to pour her care and her needs in her child. That's understandable. But in the same breath, it's also important for her to not completely lose herself into her child. And I think that's where the balancing act comes in. Woman's worth in society is mostly viewed toward the person she's tied to. Unfortunately, this is why a lot of people fear singlehood. This is why a lot of women do not want to be single, because unfortunately our society has tied a woman's value and a woman's worth toward whoever she's tied to. Either she's mother to this person, or wife to this person, or girlfriend to this person. This is why the idea of the single woman who has self actualize, focusing on her path, her career, her skill, her domain is so baffling because we don't have something to separate the woman from the mother or the woman from the wife. People think that womanhood is about being a wife, being somebody else's wife or somebody else's mother. But just acknowledging womanhood as a cycle is gonna give us a much better understanding of what it is, and also it will enable a lot of women to remain to hold on to their identity, hold on to the girl who was there before, the girl who went to school, the girl who got her education, the girl who tried this new job, or the girl who did this despite everyone telling her she couldn't do it. I think it's very important for us to celebrate that girl and not just celebrate the wife or celebrate the mother, because without that girl, those other two roles would have never come about. Without that girl going through the trenches and trying her hardest and figuring out what she wants to do, she would have never gotten to the wife part or the mother part. But yeah, so my advice for you is this: just give your friend time. Give your friend time. Appreciate both aspects of her life. Appreciate the mother aspect and also appreciate the girl aspect. You give words of affirmation regarding her, the way she's raising her child, and how she's a wonderful mother and her daughter is so lucky to have her. Also, give words of affirmation to the girl who was there before she became a mother. The girl who tried her hardest, the girl who was there with you, who made you laugh, who was witty. Also give appreciation to that girl. And your friendship is going to change because motherhood is a huge thing. So your friendship will change. I think it's something that you need to keep in mind. However, it doesn't have to completely change. It doesn't have to be your friend only talks about her kid while you talk about you being a single woman. You guys can actually make it work, but it is going to take a lot of work and it's going to take some time. This is a new thing. It's new for you. It's new for her. Like you said, she just recently had a baby. She just recently became a mother. So she's new to this whole thing. And I think it is important to give her space, give her time, and just see how this whole thing is going to go. All right. So that is it. And we're just going to jump into the next. So we're going to dive into the second story of that episode. This one is a little bit long. So get your tea, get your snack. I mean, maybe the advice isn't going to be long, but the actual story is very long. Okay. So here, the title of this is just advice on keeping up with hobbies and interests in day-to-day life. Okay. I'm a 27-year-old woman and I need advice on finding motivation for tasks and also new hobbies or keeping up with hobbies. Some context: I'm a 27-year-old woman from the UK and I've been with my husband for 10 years and we moved out together 3 years ago, just before COVID started. We now have a 10-month-old baby. Ooh, is this another parent thing? I don't know. Prior to all of this, I used to take care of my appearance more, wearing nicer clothes to work, styling my hair, and getting my nails done monthly for 10 years. This was all while living with my parents. I had time to search for new music, go out with friends without thinking of household chores or money. We bought a house, and 5 months later, COVID and lockdown meant I slowly stopped caring about what I wear every day and stopped styling my hair except for when I went out. Then I got pregnant, and I'm now on maternity leave. I'm kind of stuck in a bubble at home wearing tracksuits all day with greasy hair. I don't do much for myself at home or go out with friends nearly as much as I did. I don't have many interests, but I love cooking. I love playing chess online too, and while pregnant, I used to play daily. Since having the baby, I've played twice, and that's not because I don't have the time. I enjoy reading and playing some video games when I've found the ones I like. Although I like reading, I wouldn't say I'm a reader. I don't read many books. The trouble is I can't stick at anything anymore. I bought 2 books, read one in 2 weeks, and haven't started the second. I played some video games for a couple of days in a row, enjoyed it, but then went back and sat on the couch, not doing much. Parentheses, when I'm not looking after the baby. I've started booking in some monthly nail appointment because I know if I don't book them in, then I won't get around to getting back into that habit. I keep saying I want to be more productive around the house, but there's tasks I've been putting off for months. I want to keep up with a skincare routine, and I only last a few days at a time. I started an online vegan nutritionist course 2 years ago, and I wanted to find a new hobby or interest, and it's 30% complete 2 years later. I'm going back to work in a few weeks part time, so I hope that break away from home may get me feeling myself again. My husband thinks I'm just extremely lazy, which I am. I've always been a bit lazy, but it got worse and worse, and I'm wondering if it's just a bad habit I need to get out or something. Anyone experiencing this or any tips? Wow. We're going to be back with our advice after this break. We're back. We are back, and it's so interesting how this kind of like feeds into the first story a little bit. Very interesting. But yeah, it seems as though after the pandemic happened, a lot of us had to after the pandemic happened, a lot of us had to readjust. I think it's safe to say a lot of us had to readjust. But I don't know. I really don't know because it seems like I think you're putting a bit too much pressure on yourself. And I know you think you're being lazy, or if you're in a similar situation where you just feel like you're not getting anything done, life is just passing you by, you don't know why, you might actually be putting a lot of pressure on yourself. And you've given us all these timelines. You used to do this, you used to do that. After the pandemic happened, you stopped doing this, you stopped doing that. Acceptable. Books 2 year prior, and 2 years later, you've only read one, not the other one. And you started a class, and it's only 20% complete. I think you're actually being a bit more. I think you're being a bit more harsh on yourself, and I think you're being a bit harsh on yourself. And it may not be motivation that's the problem here. It may just be discipline. Motivation might not be the problem. It might actually be discipline. And people who struggle with discipline are not necessarily lazy people. I think people who actually struggle with discipline are people who have these not arbitrary. They have these finite timelines that they have to reach, and then they get down on themselves, or they start punishing themselves because they didn't finish it during this timeline. And instead of just taking stuff one day at a time, they have this time limit where they have to get stuff done, and if they don't get it done during that timeline, they kind of push it back. I think the problem is actually discipline and not motivation. You like reading, but you're not a reader. You like getting your nails done, but you're not doing this. It's just, I don't know. I feel like I need more. This was so long, but I still don't feel like we really got into it. Because it seems as though the problem is definitely discipline. Right? You started a nutritionist course 2 years ago, but 2 years later, you've only completed it at 30%. My advice will actually just be have a to-do list. Have a to-do list and knock all of your things out one day at a time. Meaning if you don't knock it out today, it's okay. Just you do it tomorrow. Don't have I will read these books in 2 years and have the pressure of it all. Just do it one day at a time. One day at a time, read one page or read for 15 minutes. That's it. The way to build up discipline is by habitually doing stuff. So just do that. And the thing with the nail thing, I think, yes, setting up an appointment for you to go get your nails done is definitely going to start getting you back in that routine. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there's something else that's missing. Other than the discipline, I feel like there's something else that should be here. And it's not. But it's like, but I will give you the same advice as I gave the other woman who was inquiring about her friend. The thing is, motherhood is a very challenging thing, and I'm pretty sure most people, and not just women, would attest to that. Motherhood is very challenging, and it requires a lot out of the mother, which is why it's important for us to still, which is why it's important for women to still maintain their identity before they became a mother. So I would say just gradually weave your hobbies back into your life. Now that it seems as though most of these stuff are not related to your child, which it makes me want to believe that you're probably doing the best you can with that and you're knocking it out of the park. So good job. But now we need to integrate the girl who was there before the mother. So yeah, just gradually monthly just schedule your nails appointment, and after you get your nails done, maybe that day schedule for the next month. Gradually integrate stuff you like in your life at a slow pace. Don't try to rush into it. I think that's the whole point, because whenever we get in this state where it seems as though we're stuck in limbo, life is passing us by and we're just stagnant and we don't know where to start, it's better to just take it one day at a time. So she mentioned reading, playing video games, getting her nails done, the nutrition class, and I'm pretty sure there's like a bunch of other stuff. So that's like four things to focus on. And I would say try to integrate one of those stuff every day. You don't have to integrate all four of them same day. So just maybe play video games for 30 minutes or read a book for 30 minutes or go get your nails done. Or the day you get your nails done, then you don't have to pressure yourself into reading a book or doing video games. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is gradually integrate the stuff you like in your life slowly. Key point is slowly. Because if we try to just bombard you with all these stuff, that's how people shut down, and that's how they feel as though life is just passing them by and they're not moving forward. I think the point is just give yourself little goals that you knock every day, just one at a time. As time goes on, you will build that discipline where it will just become second nature. And the key point in doing this is you cannot beat yourself up if you do not meet the goal. The point of this is to just go in. These are stuff you like already. So go in, have fun, and don't beat yourself up if you don't meet that goal. You just do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's a new day for you to meet that goal. So that's what my advice would be. But yeah, good luck to you. And I really hope for the best. And I like these integration stuff where we talk about one topic. Today was motherhood. Well, it's fun. All right, so thank you so much for listening to this episode, and we'll catch y'all next Sunday. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And what did you guys think? I really I want to preface, I am not a mother. I do not have any kids. I do not know what it's like to raise a kid. However, I do have friends who have been mothers, and I know some of them have voiced that this is their concern. I would never presume to know what it's like, what motherhood it's like. But these are just some stuff that I've heard, which is why I feel like I could share with you guys. If you guys have any other thing that you think is important, please leave it in the comment section of our YouTube channel so that all the other listeners can really have insight on this thing. But I think it's a big topic, and I don't think this episode completely does it justice. It may open the floodgates for us to have a conversation, but I think there's a lot to dive into here. But what did you guys think? Please let us know. If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. Spotify, leave us a review. And we really love reading what you guys have to say. And next week's episode is really fascinating. We'll be talking about self-love and self-worth, as well as friendship in the workplace with the opposite sex. Listen, those are both interesting, all right? And I think everyone can relate to that. So please stay tuned for next week. We'd love to have you here. All right? And one last thing. We get our stories on our Gmail account, which is kitchentableadvice@gmail.com. That's where we get all of our stories. So if you want to be featured on one of our episodes, please just write to our Gmail. It's in the description box. And yeah, write to our Gmail. It's in the description box. All right. We'll see you guys next Sunday. Bye.